Oh, hey, what's up, you guys? How's it going? It's Papa, and today I'm going to be showcasing you guys my brand new RYZEAL Mitsurugi deck profile that I am currently playing for the current TCG format. Now, as you've seen in the past couple of videos, you have seen that I have been playing RYZEAL, whether it's at locals, whether it's online, whatever it is, I have been playtesting this deck. The Mitsurugi archetype basically serves as a budget alternative for those that don't want to pick up Fiendsmith at the moment, and it is completely justified, but the Mitsurugi stuff, as for people that don't know, I am a very big fan of ritual summoning, and the fact that I can do that and still play a meta deck is just the best way that I can play Yu-Gi-Oh right now. It actually has a lot of really good synergy with the deck, so I am very glad that I am able to go ahead and keep playing this deck, because I'm not gonna lie, pure RYZEAL was getting kind of boring, basically being just the same shit different day. But I do like what the Mitsurugi cards add to this deck. It basically adds another line of consistency, it adds another form of negation, and on top of that, it also adds for follow-up for the comeback. I'm not gonna get too further into the explanation. We did just get the Mitsurugi stuff in the latest set, Supreme Darkness, and I am very glad to be able to showcase it to you guys today. But before I do get into the deck profile, I want to ask you guys to please check out the channel and subscribe for more Yu-Gi-Oh videos, because if you like and subscribe, it lets me know that I am doing something right. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. So of course, since we are on RYZEAL, we got to start off with our 3 copies of X RYZEAL. I mean, I feel like this is going to be very standard moving forward when you're playing the Mitsurugi archetype. X is just the best one. Now with the addition of Eclipse Twins, being able to send that to add for follow-up later in the game, whatever it is. You can still send Aggregator if you need to, but I mean, you're mainly sending Eclipse Twins now, and this is probably just one of your best starters in the deck. Something different is that I am only on 2 copies of Ice RYZEAL. Since you are playing the new Mitsurugi monsters, you don't want to be clogging up with too many normal summons in the deck. Granted, you can use the special summon effect of this card as well, but I do feel like only 2 is necessary, and plus, if anything, we are playing 3 copies of Bonfire, so you do have access to this card, and you can always keep recycling off of Cross, because we're not playing Desires in this list, so you can basically just keep recycling them that way as well. For one-ofs, I do play the 1 copy of Sword RYZEAL now. This card just becomes infinitely worse with the addition of the Mitsurugi cards, so you only really need 1. And then I do play 1 copy of Node RYZEAL as well. I just like to have the Node RYZEAL as an extra name, honestly. It's just very good for just rank 4 building. And then, like I said, we do play the 1 copy of RYZEAL Cross, because we are not playing plugin in this list. I tried to keep the deck as close to 40 as possible, but I'm at 41 right now, so I'm still not even at 40. Granted, you can play the plugin and play 42 cards if you want. That is fine. It is completely up to you, however you want to play the deck. But right now, this is just what I have been liking, so I played the 1 Cross, 1 Node, 1 Sword. And to round off the RYZEAL lineup, we do play the 3 Bonfire, just to go ahead and search out those cards. So that's it for the main RYZEAL lineup. Of course, we play the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 card engine. Very nice. Again, since you have Cross, you can go ahead and keep recycling your cards back, being able to just have instant access to them whenever you need it. So you don't need any more, definitely don't need any less. Night Sword Serpent's effect is that when this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon it, but you banish it when it leaves the field. So basically, you can summon this card back when you send it off of the ritual spell, and then if you use this for a rank 4, it doesn't get banished, so it just stays in the graveyard. Card's very nice. It does kind of suck to draw, but you know, it's fine. You can still keep playing with it. It's not too bad, and it's a King of the Feral Imps target if you need it, but you're mainly searching the other guys anyway, but it is still just a one-of. And for the real new cards of the deck, we do play 2 copies of Mitsurugi no Mikoto Saji and the 1 copy of Mitsurugi no Mikoto Kusanji. Saji reads that if this card is normal or special summon, or if this card is tributed, you can add 1 Mitsurugi spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and if another reptile monster or monsters you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can tribute this card instead. So this card basically is your main normal summon that you want. You don't really need to max out on 3 of it, because since you are playing King of the Feral Imps, the new combo line is to basically use your RYZEAL cards to go into King Feral, which gets you access to this, and then basically this is your main normal summon, so you can go ahead and get your combo rolling like that. And then Kusanji, his effect reads that if this card is normal or special summon, or if it is tributed, you can target a Mitsurugi card in your graveyard or banishment except for itself, and you can add it to the hand. And if another reptile monster or monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can tribute this card instead. So basically they both have the same second effect, but then their main effect is of course different. But I do feel like you really just need the 2-1 split. You definitely definitely don't need any more of this because this doesn't really get you too much. This is just for basically follow-up, and then the Saji, just being able to make it to where you can just start doing your Mitsurugi plays, is very needed. And then for the big Honka Honka, we are playing the 2 copies of Ame no Murakumo no Mitsurugi. This card is basically what it says in the name. This card basically says nope. This card says that you can ritual summon this card with Mitsurugi Ritual, and then if this card is special summon, you can destroy all monsters your opponent controls, and if your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can activate this effect that your opponent discards 1 card or the effect is negated. And then if this card is tributed, you can add 1 Mitsurugi card from your deck to your hand except for itself, and then you can special summon this card. So basically this card makes it to where you don't have to play cross set anymore. You totally can if you want to, but this card is basically just a hard negate for whatever your opponent may throw at you. One of the best things about this card is that it also makes it to where, yes, it is a negate, but it can be stopped, but it is making your opponent have to waste a potentially a very key or crucial card in their hand to do so. So it basically makes your opponent be on a better habit to where they better have something that they can afford to discard, and if not, then you're probably going to be in a good spot anyway. And you definitely only need 2 because you can just keep recycling them, so I have been liking 2. And then we play the 1 copy of Futsu no Mitama no Mitsurugi. This card reads that you can ritual summon this card with Mitsurugi Ritual, and if your opponent special summons a monster or monsters except during the damage step, you can target 1 reptile monster in your graveyard except for itself, and you can special summon it. And then you can only use this effect of itself once per chain, so basically just being able to keep using this effect is very busted. I mean, granted, yes, it's once per chain, but it is not once per turn. And then if this card is tributed, you can add 1 Mitsurugi card from your deck to your hand except for itself. Then you can special summon this card as well. So just the kind of recursion that this deck has is very strong. Being able to just keep bringing these guys back and then getting extra benefits off of it is just so strong, and basically what makes this engine just so damn good, honestly. The card's very nice. And then the real best card in the deck is 3 copies of Mitsurugi Ritual. This card is basically a boss in itself. Again, I'm just a little biased because I like ritual summoning, but this card kicks a lot of ass. So this card reads that this card can be used to ritual summon any reptile ritual monster, and then you can activate one of the effects. You can ritual summon 1 reptile ritual monster from your deck by attributing reptile monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal the level of the ritual monster. And then the other effect is that you can ritual summon 1 reptile ritual monster from your hand by attributing up to 2 reptile monsters from your hand, deck, or field whose levels equal the level of the ritual monster. So for those that don't know, this is basically Shaddoll Fusion for ritual summoning, and being able to send your ritual guys from the deck to the grave is essentially how you're going to keep making your rank 4s. So you basically send the Sword Serpent, and then you can send one of the other guys, and then you can just get infinite pluses off of that, and then go into another rank 4, whether it's Detonator, whether it's Duo Drive. Basically just gets it to where you need to be. So you do have to maximize on it, and this card is pretty cheap right now. I would suggest getting these before this card skyrockets. And then we are also playing 3 copies of Mitsurugi Prayers. I think this card is also very good. This card is a quick play spell that reads that when you activate this card, you can also tribute 1 reptile monster in the hand or field and apply one of the effects. And if you tribute a monster at activation, you can apply both effects in sequence. The first effect being that you can add 1 Mitsurugi monster from your deck to your hand, and the second one being that you can take 800 damage, and then you can special summon 1 Mitsurugi monster from your hand or graveyard, but it cannot attack directly. So yes, the special summon effect to not be able to attack directly doesn't really hurt too bad when you think about like how much attacking in Yu-Gi-Oh actually matters. The main thing that you want with this card is that you want to be able to add a Mitsurugi monster from your deck to your hand, whether it is your normal summon, whether it's the ritual, whatever it is. You really just want to be able to add it, so you have to play 3 copies of this. And then one of the cards that people are going nuts about is Mitsurugi Great Purification. This card is definitely very good. This card reads that when your opponent activates a card or effect, tribute 1 level 5 or higher reptile monster, and you can negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. You can banish this card from your graveyard and then target a reptile monster in your graveyard and special summon it, and if you do, you tribute 1 other monster you control. So basically, if you haven't been paying attention just yet, all of these cards say that you can tribute, which is definitely going to be able to gain the additional effects, since they all have additional effects for when they are tributed. So basically, you are just replacing and summoning and adding and basically just having a whole lot of fun while your opponent's just sitting there watching you basically play with yourself.
What did he say?
but we only need the one because it is recyclable and you don't really want to break on it, so just one. That's going to do it for the Mitsurugi lineup. I believe it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 if you count the serpent. But yeah, that is the Mitsurugi lineup. So moving on to the non-engine. Starting off here, we have the basic 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Shouldn't be a surprise there. And then I'm going for some 2-ofs here because I wanted to get some diversity in my Mitsurugi lineup. I wanted to be able to just have flair, I guess. So 2 Ghost Bell, 2 copies of Effect Veiler. I am still liking 2 copies of Droll and Lockbird. What I like about this card, granted, it can be a hinder sometimes depending on when you choose to use it, but if you're playing against the mirror and they're playing, say, the Nadir package, this essentially just immediately ends their turn if they start off with one of those, because you are shutting down basically up to 3, maybe even 4 cards that they may have in their hand. And honestly, the card is just super solid, but again, I just like 2 because I do want to be diverse with the hand traps. Even with that, I do play 2 copies of Impermanence because the main deck is very, very tight, unlike your mom. And then for the rest of the non-engine, we play 3 copies of Talents because everyone's going to be on hand traps and being able to just bait out the opponent's monster, whether it's Detonator, whether it's the Heart's Cryptor, whether it's like the A-Bow, whatever. Basically, you want to be able to have some kind of response for it, whatever it is. So 3 of those, and then I do play 1 Call by the Grave, and lastly, I play the Pot of Prosperity to round off the main deck. So like I said, that's going to go ahead and round off the main deck. It is 41 cards, no more, no less. You can easily make this deck 40 if you want to cut like any of the extra hand traps. So you can cut like Ghost Bell, you can cut Droll if you want to, and just play like 3/3 of like whatever the other ones are. If you notice, I am not playing Nib in this deck. I just feel like Nib gets infinitely worse since it does count as a tribute per se, because Nib does tribute the whole field, and if you tribute the Mitsurugi cards, then they are just going to keep getting you a bunch of a bunch of +1s. So you definitely don't want to be nibbing the Mitsurugi player because they are just going to benefit from it. So I opted to take those out, move them to the side deck for like certain matchups. I'm not going to show you guys a side deck today because this is just basically a rough draft for what I have been playing with, but I will be taking it to locals and I will be updating you guys on how it goes. And if you want to see a side deck there, then just wait for the next deck profile. Moving on to the extra deck, we do play the 2 copies of King of the Feral Imps. You could probably get away with 1, honestly, but I like having 2 just in case I run into, say, like a Kashtira player, or if I play against like Malice Kashtira, whatever it is, basically anything that says banish from the extra deck. So I wanted to have an extra one just in case. And then also this card is just busted because it says you can add 1 reptile monster from your hand. It doesn't specify the level, so you can basically add like any of these bad boys. Like you can add the ritual monsters, you can add the main guys, you can add the sword serpent, whatever it is. You have multiple targets off the King Feral, and also with Eclipse Twins, this card just becomes even better too. So 2 King Feral Imps. Speaking of Eclipse Twins, we are playing 2 copies of this bad girl. Eclipse Twin is a brand new card here in the TCG, and this card is bonkers for those that don't know. For this card's Xyz summon, you can treat rank 4 monsters you control as level 4 monsters for material. You can detach 1 material from this card, and it can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase this turn. But the real effect of this card is that if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target 2 other rank 4 or lower Xyz monsters in your graveyard and special summon 1 of them and attach the other to it as material. So basically this helps for when you have like a Detonator or a Duo Drive in the graveyard, then you can go ahead and basically summon 1 of them back. And then you get to attach another card to it off of your RYZEAL, or if it's Detonator, you can target anything, and basically just keep going from there. But it's also good if you need to like summon, say, King of the Feral Imps off of it, because then the King of the Feral Imps will have a material, and then you can detach, get your Mitsurugi cards, whatever it is that you need it to be. But this card is absolutely nuts, very cool. I could definitely see this card being hit in the future because of just how powerful it is. And then I'm still playing the 1 copy of Aggregator. I still feel like this card is very strong, and you can still do it to help break boards going second, whatever it is, beta interruptions. Card's still good. You only need 1 of it though. I have seen some lists not play it just because the extra deck is so much tighter now because you have to fit room for Feral Imps and Eclipse Twins. and it's honestly just a lot. So just one of those. This is all preference. I'm playing one copy of Light Dragon at Ignister. This card has been coming up for me a lot lately, and I think this card is very good, especially now that I'm not playing Donner. I just feel like this card just becomes a lot better. And then I do play one copy of Duo Drive as well as one copy of Detonator. With the additions of Eclipse Twins, you can go ahead and get away with playing one of these because you also have Eclipse Twins, and then you also have RYZEAL Cross, which can basically just keep recycling these cards. And if you play the game correctly, then you don't need multiples of this. Granted, you could probably play a second Detonator if you really want to, but honestly, the extra deck again is just so tight that it is a little bit hard to determine right now, but this is just what I have been testing with. And then we play one copy of Baguska, one copy of Castel still. Granted, you could also cut this, but also if you want to play this instead, then you can also side deck the Harpy's Featherstorm for going first to basically shut off your opponent's turn. And then one Exciton Knight card is still busted, one copy of Tornado Dragon, and then one copy of Abyss Dweller to round off the rank 4s. And then of course I do play the one Typhon, and the last card I'm playing instead of the Donner, I opted to go for the Haggard Lizardos. I just have found these cards to be just so much better during testing. I mean, Typhon, very mandatory, I feel like, if you are going to be playing this deck. And then Haggard has just been really good for getting like extra draws, and then it's also a reptile, so you contribute like your other cards too, but mainly it's there to also clear the field in case you need to go into your Xyz plays. But yeah guys, that is actually going to go ahead and do it for the deck profile. Like I said, I'm not doing a side deck today because this is just what I have been practicing with. I haven't gone to locals just yet, but this has just been the first initial draft with this deck, which I really think is going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a top tier like meta threat because the Mitsurugi cards are just so good at recycling and power and negation. Basically whatever it is that you may think of, the cards are really good at doing. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys want to see post Supreme Darkness. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I want to keep bringing to you, but I just need to find the time to do so. But until next time guys, this has been Papa, and I will catch you all in my next video.